Welcome back to Julia at Home. I am Julia. This video is the first in a curriculum series I'm doing for our curriculum for the years 2022 to 2023. And I have this year a fourth grader, a second grader, a 3-year-old, and a 1-year-old who is currently sleeping on my back. So hopefully he'll stay sleeping for a little while. This first video in this series is about our family subjects. And these family subjects are aimed at my 4th and 2nd graders, so elementary subjects. My 3-year-old and 1-year-old are usually with us, and I incorporate, especially the 3-year-old, where I can and where she wants to, but often they're nearby either snacking, or 3-year-old might be coloring or playing with blocks, or he might be on my back. So they're around, but this is really aimed at the 4th and 2nd graders. There are some other group subjects that are more aimed at the preschool level, and I will get into those in the preschool video. I'm going to start with my favorite subject, which is history. And if you've watched some of my other videos, you might have seen my love for history. I will link some of my favorite units we've done below in the description box. But we are continuing to use Curiosity Chronicles. We've used it for a couple years now, I think, yeah. We're still in Early Modern. So this is Snapshots of Early Modern History Volume 1. I also have Volume 2. And I got these physical copies for this. You can also get a digital copy and print it out yourself, or just look at it on the computer. And then it also comes with digital versions of the like extra student workbook and instructor's handbook, I think it's called, and as well as audiobook and timeline cards. So all of that is included in the package that I got for this. So we do use a lot of those. There's coloring pages and maps especially, as well as just ideas for other books and resources to go with the different lessons. So it's really useful that way. Of course, I never do anything exactly as written. So we are starting this year with a unit, and we are doing a unit on colonial America. So like 16 and 1700s in North America here, focusing on the New England region, because we are doing partly American Revolution as well as into the forming of the United States, you know, all that, creating Constitution, all that good stuff. So that's this large unit we're doing this fall. I am using the relevant chapters of this, but of course, more picture books. There's some great middle grade fiction for this era and place, and also some activities and a lot of field trips, because we do live in New England. So we have the privilege of being able to go on a few. We've already actually gone on a couple field trips, and I'm really excited to do some more. And then, as I alluded to, we will be moving more through the Early Modern History book. I'm hoping to get through most, if not all, of Volume 2, which is the end of early modern history, by the end of the year. We'll see how it goes. I might pull in a few other resources, you know, books and such, and food and maybe activities here and there, but we're not going to do another big unit this year. That brings me to science. I'm doing things a little bit differently this year. Instead of doing history like concurrent with doing a science, I'm actually going to alternate our history and science. So after we finish this Colonial America unit, we are going to do a unit on astronomy. And I did purchase Pandia Press's Real Science Odyssey for Astronomy 1, but I most likely won't use it as it is. I'm going to take pieces out, make my own unit. After I do that, I can share with you what I did and what I liked, and let me know in the comments if you'd like to see that below, as well as if you'd like to see the Colonial America resources that I'm using. The goal is hopefully we're doing that in kind of November and into December, because even though it's colder, it tends to be pretty clear. It does get darker earlier, so it does make it easier to look at the night sky. So we'll be doing that. And then for the remainder of the year, I'm not doing anything super formal. We're gonna pick some experiments and just spend like a week or two on maybe like focusing on a book or two on a topic and experiment to go with it. So I haven't chosen what those are yet, but I might look at some, especially physics and chemistry, main ideas and concepts that I might want to communicate to the children. Also, we have books. This is probably the best one for this. We have Fairy Tale Science, which was gifted to my daughter, and it has classic fairy tales with hands-on experiments to go with each one, which is really fun. So we might do some of these. We have Zoe and Sassafras books that we love, and those are really good jumping off point for experiments. So we're just gonna kind of go with the flow with those. So we'll probably pause wherever we are in history to spend a week or two, however long I feel like, on an experiment or a topic for science. Connected with science, we also will be doing nature journaling. Ideally, we do this every week, but I think more realistically, I'm setting a goal for once a month. This is my nature journal, so you can see I have a video, I might have more than one, on how we nature journal, but I love to do like the colors of the month. And then when we're doing science, we may add things to here. We've done that in the past. You can see I have, when we did fish, I added some on fish in there. But I'm thinking with astronomy in particular, we'll probably have a unit book for that. So we'll just have to see. But I would love to do separate nature journaling once a month, just of, the colors and or what we're seeing outside. For literature, I've compiled quite a long list to do for read alouds. So these will be literature that we read during school time, as well as read alouds that we do as a family that often my husband reads in the evenings at bedtime. These are just a sampling of them. We've got One and Only Ivan, Chains. This is one of the middle grade historical fictions for of the American Revolution, and the Finn Family Moomin Troll, which I've heard really, really good things about. For several of these, including One and Only Ivan and Finn Family Moomin Troll, I did purchase some Brave Writer arrows and darts. And I printed them out. This is what it looks like. Not all of the literature books that I picked do I have these for, but I have them for some. And so these are basically include copywork and dictation, and like mechanics of writing, grammar, and some literary elements it talks about for you to go through with your child. It's just a guide for basically for me to work with them. And these are aimed, the dart at my second grade level and the arrow at my graders level. But I will adjust as necessary. And I could talk about this a little bit more when I get to their individual curriculum videos. So for geography this year, we're actually going to learn about Europe. I intend to print out and laminate some black line outlines of the countries in Europe so that the kids can do map drill with that. That worked really well for us with the United States that we did last year. We did regular map drill, and hopefully we'll do that a couple times a week to learn all the countries in Europe. I know there's a lot of small ones, so hopefully it won't take us all year, but I'm, however long it takes, it takes. In addition, I kind of got this book for fun. It's called Heist Society, and it's about a girl who needs to go steal art that has been stolen to save her family. But it takes place in Europe, and it's about art in Europe. My kids and I really love mysteries, especially this kind of like art theft kind of mystery is really intriguing to us. We've read a couple books about in that genre before, so I thought that'd be fun and kind of give us exposure to Europe. I might also throw in some picture books that we have that I used for our preschool around the world study. And then I'm going to have each of my older kids do a country report, so they're going to be able to choose a country in Europe, and I'll give them parameters of what, like, certain information that I want. Obviously they're going to need to know where it is, maybe a little bit about the history, what the population is, the food, what animals live there or native to there. A lot of I don't have the list made yet, but I'll give them a list. And I will definitely be helping my second grader with most of the writing, and I'll also obviously help my fourth grader where she needs help. But my goal is for them to have kind of a country report done, hopefully with some pictures and other resources by the end. And then I'll probably encourage them each to choose an activity and or recipe from that country as well. I'll probably also throw in some other recipes, food and activities from other countries in Europe as we go, particularly ones that we have ancestry from. I might try to highlight those. Okay, next I'm going to address artist and composer. We have for years done Charlotte Mason style artist and composer, and I love doing them. Now, the way a lot of Charlotte Mason homeschools do this, and the way we've done it in the past, is to have, choose an artist and a composer for a term, so around 8 weeks. So you're looking at their art and listening to their music, and like really doing a session for maybe 10 minutes a week is my impression of what you're supposed to be doing and what we did. And I found that like going 1 week at a time, and then if we missed a week for some reason, there was just a long time between that, and I don't know if they were picking up the threads on the composers and artists. So I decided to do it a little differently this year. We're going to rotate, so we're going to spend less time, but do it more than once a week. So we'll do a couple weeks on an artist several times a week, and then we'll switch to a composer several times a week. And then what I'm going to do is do a Shakespeare play. We have done, we started learning about Shakespeare a couple times actually. And I did start at some point. I have a great Diane Stanley biography of him. It's called Bard of Avon, I believe, and I recommend it, but we never really got all the way through it. So we're gonna do that as we start our Shakespeare study and learn about Shakespeare himself. But also we're gonna start with the play Much Ado About Nothing because we're starting with a comedy. We did Midsummer Night's Dream already, and my daughter has read through all the comedies and that's one of her favorites. So that's why we're going with that. I also think there's a pretty good video, a movie with Emma Thompson and Kenneth Branagh, if I'm remembering correctly. Hopefully I am, that we can watch when we're done studying the play. So it'll look like we're gonna read a story version of the play. I have a couple Usborne books that have story versions of Shakespeare plays. And then we will probably listen on audio maybe to the actual play itself. Either that or we'll just watch the movie. I have tried doing a read aloud of the play itself. I got into it. I'm a theater person and I was doing a little one-woman Shakespeare, but I don't think my kids were following it as much and having as much enjoyment as I was. So I'm gonna play around and see in what way we can enjoy the play most so that I can just expose them to several. So that's kind of the format I'm going in, and I'm hoping to get to several artists, composers throughout the year, and hopefully at least 2 Shakespeare plays. I'm hoping at least to do Much Ado About Nothing and Hamlet, and if we get to some other ones, we may do that as well. But that's my plan. I did mention the Usborne Shakespeare books. I'll have as many of the resources as I can linked in the description box below if you're looking. Let me just show you a little bit what I do for composer and artist. So I find picture book biographies wherever I can. So for example, this is one on Bach. And then for composers, I do have Squilt for some of them, not for all of them. Again, I have a list and I don't know if we'll get to all of them, but I kind of just have the list in order chronologically, and we're going to work our way through. This is again for Bach, and this is a Squilt guide, so it actually picks out songs for you, tells you about them, and then features different things. For example, this lesson is on Toccata and Fugue in D minor, and it does have links. So this is a digital product, and I printed it out, but I will probably pull it up on my computer so I can get the links when we do this. And then it also has things like what is a toccata. So I can read that and talk to my kids, and a fugue for that matter. So I can talk to my kids about that. And it does have some of these have like copy work and coloring pages. I don't know if all of them have that, but many of them do. They don't have a lot of composers, but I recommend the ones they do. They also have eras. So I did some of the Baroque era ones with my children, and I did purchase also the classical era one, which overlaps with some of these. But yeah, I recommend them if you want some sort of guide for composer study. For picture study, I did get some more of these. I just really like having the pictures printed out for me, and the fact that there's information in here on each of the pictures that are printed is useful to me as well. There's also an autobiography, so in some cases I wasn't able to find a picture book or even an adult biography for some of them, and so that's helpful to read through as well. And they don't have all the artists. I mean, nobody can have all of the artists you might want to do. I also purchased this one from A Humble Place, so that's another place that you might want to look if you're looking for resources to help you with Charlotte Mason style picture study. Art, I'm leaving a little bit more open this year. I would love to do art every week. However, in a structured manner, I think every other week is a more realistic goal for me. I am trying though to incorporate more just open-ended art while I'm reading to them, especially because like my 3-year-old, like drawing, painting really occupies her. So if I can keep her occupied and quiet while we read, that's really helpful. So we might be able to fit it in more that way. So I don't really have, we're not following one particular book. I do have several of these artistic pursuit books, and I will use these and pull them out, especially when there's a lesson that relates to an artist that we're doing. Then when we're finishing, you know, we've done that artist a little bit, I will pull this out and we will probably look at it and do the activity for that artist. Okay, so this is, I just showed you the picture study for this one. This is John Singleton Copley, and it does the little picture study on him, and then there's an activity to go with it. So we'll probably do that when we study him. And there's also some other just random lessons in here that have videos that I might pull out. And I have some of their other books too. So I might just pull them out as I feel like it, try to get them into a variety of different mediums like collage, painting, clay, just kind of spread it out a bit. And then I have some ideas for some fun seasonal crafts and art activities for like aimed more at the preschooler. And so I will probably incorporate the older kids in that too, because you're never too old to do crafts. One more random subject we're doing as a group is actually math in the garden. So I've had this book for a while. It's kind of hard to get your hands on and a little pricey, but because gardening is an integral part of my life, I really wanted to have this. And so for me, I feel like I'll get several years use out of it and it will be worth it. So what we're doing is we're just using it, doing some of the lessons, not all of them. There's a lot of lessons. It kind of ranges in age from like kindergarten, I think, up through middle school for different levels. And there's a lot that you can kind of adapt to the level of your children or class. It's kind of written for a class. It actually says for adults with children ages 5 through 13. So yeah. And so we started with a really simple one of just counting. The next one we're going to do is graphing flowers by different attributes. There's a lot on here on different shapes and geometry, as well as measuring and even weighing some things. So we're going to try to just do some of those before I make them start their formal math, which I will talk about more when we get to their individual school subjects in the separate videos. But yeah, we've started with this, and kind of this is one way we're easing into the school year, doing math together in a way that feels more practical. I may also later in the year just stop formal math or their, math books to do a quick unit on money, just kind of playing we have some board games and just playing some different games with using and exchanging and getting change and purchasing things. I think that's something that can just use a lot of practice. I am supposed to teach PE and health. I'm leaving PE to my husband. They're pretty active. I just need to send a picture of them doing yoga or biking or something. And then for health, I have a book, You Wouldn't Want to Live Without Sleep, so we may read that, talk about why sleep's important, maybe talk about healthy habits a little bit. I don't really know yet, but I don't have a grand plan for health this year. Those are our family subjects. I'm really excited about them. I know it seems like a lot, but as far as with rotating, I really have simplified for myself this year. All right, I will see you in the next video in this series, which will be about my 4th graders' curriculum choices.